So this touches on something that I think is really cool, and it's one of the things that I'm like most interested in about large language models is the way that they abstract language out to just sort of semantic rules and patterns and things. So like the symbols of the language don't actually matter, which is like part of what makes it well suited for translation and such, is that it understands relations and rules. And Google is doing the first sort of cross-species version of that with Dolphin Gemma. Have you encountered this yet, Perry?
No, I saw you threw it in our notes for possible articles this week. This is really cool. I was pulling it up right before we started.
Oh, yeah. So this, we'll go over it real quick. It's pretty simple, but pretty cool. Google, well, I'll just read the title of the article. This is from Google's blog, and this is actually from about a little over a month ago, April 14th. Dolphin Gemma, how Google AI is helping decode dolphin communication. Because we've like known for a while that dolphins have complex communication and like names for each other and things like that. And so they've teamed up with the Wild Dolphin Project. Here's a little excerpt. For decades, understanding the clicks, whistles, and burst pulses of dolphins has been a scientific frontier. What if we could not only listen to dolphins, but also understand the patterns of their complex communication well enough to generate realistic responses? And in comes AI, right? So they say understanding any species requires deep context, and that's one of the many things that the Wild Dolphin Project, WDP, provides. Since 1985, WDP has conducted the world's longest-running underwater dolphin research project, studying a specific community of wild Atlantic spotted dolphins in the Bahamas across generations. Their approach is this non-invasive, in their world, on their terms kind of approach. And from that, they've gotten a rich, unique data set with decades of underwater video and audio meticulously paired with individual dolphin identities, life histories, and observed behaviors. Exactly the kind of stuff you would need to be able to get an LLM to start churning on, like, what do the different sounds they make mean?
Yeah. Next token prediction for dolphin clicks. That's really cool.
Yeah. And like, I'll detour here very quickly to share a metaphor that I encountered recently that I thought was really poignant of how LLMs can understand things without understanding them. Like we've talked about the Chinese room thought experiment where someone doesn't understand what's being said, but they have all the things to decode it. I think a much more intuitive way to understand this is that, and this maybe it's only applicable to musicians, but like, I'm sure you know someone who's really good at playing music but doesn't know music theory. And like maybe that's you. It's me, right? Like I know the basics of music theory, I guess, but not really much. But I can still compose chord structures and patterns that are a bit more advanced just because I know those patterns. You don't have to actually know all of the rules of music theory to create music. And anyone, even non-musicians, you can like sing a song and it's going to follow, like if you make up a song right now just by singing nonsense, it's going to follow patterns and structures of the music you've encountered. You have this intrinsic understanding. So that's kind of like what LLMs build up for English, and it's good enough to let you do what we do now. And Google thinks it might be good enough for us to figure out how dolphins talk.
Yeah. The thing that I'm wondering about is like the translation capability. So I can definitely understand how it would do essentially what we get from ChatGPT with it, right? Is the next token prediction or continuation sequence. I think you could probably fool a dolphin into having a conversation with an AI that way. But I'm wondering how you get the language interconnect between that and English so that you have the semantic connection. Do they talk about that?
Yeah, you couldn't have set me up better for the next part of this article, Perry.
Cool.
So that's exactly it, right? Like if you could just generate like next squeak prediction and we don't know what it means, that's not really communication. But what they've been doing for decades by correlating sound types with behavioral contexts, like you've established phenomenon that you can attach to these sounds. So how do you use that to then talk back and forth? There's a lot in this blog post that's really good, and I definitely recommend looking into it. But the way they're doing the two-way communication is this thing called CHAT, the Cetacean Hearing Augmentation. Let me try that again. The Cetacean Hearing Augmentation Telemetry System. That's something they're developed in partnership with the Georgia Institute of Technology. And it's this little wrist-mounted computer thing that's designed not only to directly decipher dolphins' natural language, but to establish a shared vocabulary. So what they're going to do is, well, I'll just read directly. The concept relies on first associating novel synthetic whistles created by chat distinct from natural dolphin sounds. So like new dolphin speech sounds that do not have an established relational meaning, but do follow the rules of their language. So creating novel sounds and then associating them with specific objects that dolphins enjoy, like seagrass or scarves that the researchers are using. And by demonstrating this between humans, they're hoping that the naturally curious dolphins, which are wicked smart, will learn to mimic these whistles to request those items. And then you can start building a shared vocabulary. So
it's kind of a shared third language, or like a pigeon type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
And it's like very much in its infancy. This article came out in April, so about a month ago. They say this summer they're going to release this Dolphin Gemma model open source out into the public so other researchers can play with it and stuff. But what they've been focusing on right now is getting it to run on Pixel smartphones so that researchers actually out in the field can use it without like needing specialized devices and stuff like that.
I'm wondering if people are going to accidentally cause a lot of dolphin insanity and trauma.
I hope not.
They're trying that out because they're like, I don't know what this does, but let me do this. And now all of a sudden you've created virtual dolphin therapists that don't know what they're saying, or you're accidentally encouraging them to create a mass uprising and to join with the robot overlords and turning over humanity.
We're all worried about paperclips. The real threat the whole time has been dolphins.
Dolphins do like kill for fun.
They do. Yeah, dolphins are pretty wild. But I mean, something that gives me more hope is that this isn't just like a tech startup or tech company diving in to do this. It's not even Google directly. It's Google working with the WDP, which has been around since the 80s and focused on like conservation. So it's one of the things where they're putting this in the hands of trained and skilled researchers, which seems like a smarter way to approach it. Zipping back up in the article a little bit, they talk about trying to miniaturize it. They've got it running on a Google Pixel 6 right now. The upcoming generation is centered around running on a Google Pixel 9. They say research slated for summer 2025, so probably working on that now. Trying to make it work on a phone so that you can take it down there with you. So the model itself, Dolphin Gemma, is an audio in, audio out model. It processes sequences of natural dolphin sounds to identify pattern structure and ultimately predict the likely subsequent sounds in a sequence. So it is just next token prediction. In this case, it is purely aural, and it's just taking in spectrograms, generating spectrograms, converting those to audio. There is also absolutely no follow-up I could find online. This did only come out a month ago. I was hoping that maybe in the intervening 30 days or so, there would have been some other updates or developments, but not yet. This is something, though, that I want to keep tabs on, because it would be really, really cool if in our lifetime we established the first like cross-species communication through some kind of shared understanding of language rather than like interpreted behavior.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. Coming up next, we're going to check in on some news headlines that you might have missed over the intervening week. And then later in the show, our interview with Validia AI. Stay right here.